What's up everyone? If you've ever wondered what it's like to have a hair transplant, or maybe you're thinking of having one yourself, this video is going to talk you through my experience. So without further ado, grab your passports, we're off to Istanbul, Turkey. So straight away I landed in Istanbul. There was a lovely man to meet me there to take me to my car, which was to bring me to the Hilton Hotel. There was two people actually there. One of them was me and the other was another guy who was also going for a procedure. So he got his car first, beautiful blacked out Mercedes with a chauffeur. I was expecting the same thing, but unfortunately a big busted up minivan from the 1970s pulled up with two lads and a dog in the front, and that was my first experience. Kind of nerve-wracking, but it settled me in with a bit of humour. So off to the Hilton I went. I got registered. I had a bit of food that evening, kind of just took it easy in preparation for the operation, which was going to be the next day. So the morning after I arrived, it was the day of the surgery, the 24th of May 2018. I woke up, I'd gone downstairs and I'd gotten a bit of breakfast at the hotel, which is probably the same thing that you would do if you were going over for the operation. There was just me in the breakfast room, a couple of guys from England. One of them were actually due to have an operation that day as well. And one of the things that you have to do before you have an operation for your hair is you have to abstain from coffee for 48 hours beforehand.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
Which is really hard for me because I am absolutely addicted to this stuff. And the second thing is you need to abstain from having alcohol. Now I had done that successfully, so there was no Dutch courage. However, the English guy at the breakfast table across from me had a skinful the night before and he looked pretty pissed going to his surgery, so I don't want to see what his results looked like. Anyway, getting on my car, came to the hotel, picked me up, brought me to the clinic. I suppose it's very natural at this point in time to have some nerves about, Jesus, I wonder what way this whole thing is going to go and stuff like that. And here's a picture of me in the lift as I'm heading on with my baseball cap, heading over to the surgery, to the clinic. So I went inside, I was brought to this room, I was sat down, and a couple of young staff members came in. They looked no older than like maybe 17, 18, and I thought, oh my God, is this the doctor? They're going to kill me. They're going to butcher me hair. But it wasn't the doctor, it was like the student nurses, and their job on the day will be to get you ready for your operation. So what they will be doing is they'll be putting your gown on, they'll be shaving your head bald, which is always a bit of a shock. Get ready to see that egg because it's coming right off. The hair is just coming right off. Then you'll be brought into the surgery room where you'll be given a tablet to calm you down. Now it's not Xanax, but it's similar to Xanax and it just really chills you out. So if you're the kind of person that gets nervous, that is really going to help you out a bit. A few moments later, the doctor will come in. He'll have a little bit of a chat with you. And he's going to go ahead and discuss with you where the new hair is going to be planted. And this is really important, and this is where age actually comes into it, because wherever that hairline is going to be placed, further ahead or further back, will be very relative to your age. So these are the kind of things that the doctor is going to be thinking about and consulting with you about beforehand. And ultimately it's going to affect how young you look after this thing is done. So we're on to the surgery now. What happens? So you've gotten your Xanax. The next step is probably the most difficult that you're going to encounter. You're going to have multiple needles in the area where they're extracting the hair, which is the hard part. It's a few minutes of discomfort, probably about 5 to 10 minutes. They'll probably give you about maybe 6, 7 separate needles over the course of a few minutes from memory. And eventually the whole back of your head is going to be numb. So at this point, you know, for the next few hours, everything's pretty much pain-free. So you're home sailing and it's really good. So you're going to lie down. There's this machine that they're going to use on you next. It's called an extraction machine. And they're going to go ahead and start extracting hair follicles out of the back of your head, and this is your donor area all back here, so this is where they'll be taking the hair from. The next 3 hours are going to be extracting follicles from the back of the head. You'll then reach the halfway point. You'll be offered a bit of food. I had a bit of food. Look, I'm going to be honest with you, it was awful. So I politely didn't eat the food, went back to the operating table, and the next stage, which again is probably the last phase of discomfort throughout the operation, and that's going to be getting needles on top of your head or wherever they're planting the new hair follicles. So for me, that was about 5 or 10 minutes of getting the top of my head numbed, a little bit discomfortable. You can imagine getting needles in the head like that. But however, it got done, and for the next 3 hours then, they were planting, I think I got roughly in the region of 3,500 follicles planted on top of my head. And then that was it. The operation was pretty much done. With the exception of the needles, it was relatively pain-free, and now I'm going to tell you what happened after the surgery. So I was brought into a consultation room, had a chat with the doctor. They basically said, Martin, everything went really well, so we're very pleased with the results. As you can see, the grafts were very well planted, they're very dense, so you get a kind of consultation in terms of how the operation went for you, which is great. They also then advised me about the post-op meds that I need to take for the following few months, which is really good because it really helps bring out your results, and it's very important to follow that. However, you're not made aware of these costs, or at least I wasn't before I went over. So if you're on a budget, you need to be conscious of the fact that it's going to cost you quite a substantial amount of money for your post-operation meds, and I'll actually break down that cost a little bit later in the video. So there was 1 or 2 side effects that I encountered after the operation. Not everyone will encounter this. Hopefully you won't encounter this. However, I did. So one of the things that you have to do when you leave the clinic is they put this headband on your head here. So you can just see it here, and you can see how the hair turned out as well here. It looks pretty gruesome. And this was the headband. It's like a tennis band. And the reason why you have to keep that on your head is because throughout the operation, they inject you with a thing that I think is called plasma, and they mix your blood with a certain fluid, and that goes into your head, and you cannot take this headband off. This tennis band cannot come off, or it will leak down the front inside of your face, so it's very important. However, when I got back to the hotel, I honestly, guys, I felt like I was going to pass out. Like, I was freaked out. I was texting them on WhatsApp. I was like, I'm literally about to pass out. I don't know what's wrong. I think it's the headband. And they were like, Martin, don't take the headband off. So I was freaking out at this stage. I was like, I'm literally going to pass out. So anyway, I did what they said, because obviously they have to know best. I left the headband on. I went to sleep. I thought I was going to die, but I went to sleep anyway for like 3 to 4 hours. And when I woke back up, I felt absolutely 100%. It was like a miracle. I just came back to life. I felt brilliant, and everything was perfect. And I even got room service, which is like a lovely chicken wrap and like chips and garlic sauce. I had a great time sitting in the room. Still couldn't have alcohol, but oh well, we won't worry about that. So look, it was a good time. Now there are other side effects that can happen to you, you know, when you go for hair transplants. I had a really gruesome one 2 days after the operation when I got back to Ireland. Now, viewer discretion is advised for this next photo. It's pretty gruesome. This is what happened to me when I got back to Ireland. My head had swollen out bigger than Kanye West's ego. It was ridiculous. It was huge. Like, it was just completely huge. I remember my sister actually looking at me when I got back to Ireland, and she was like, "What? I'm gonna get sick," and you know, it's pretty nasty. So it almost looks like I come from Mars, you know, to find new alien life or something. But that was pretty sick. But the good news is it only lasted for a week or 2, and then I went back to normal. So now the important part. Let's talk about results. After about 2 weeks, I began to already see the new hair coming through, which I thought was absolutely amazing. This is how it looked after 2 weeks. As you can see, the new hairline was formed. Completely different and improved to how it was before I started, and all the new hair right throughout started to grow, and you can really see the density and stuff like that coming through, and it gives you an indication of how it's going to look at the end. One important thing to say is after probably about a month, all of the new hair is going to fall out. I freaked out when that happened. You'll probably freak out too. The important thing is not to freak out when that happens. It's meant to fall out before it grows back. And now let's compare before and after photos of how it looked. So these were my results. Pretty staggering, I think. I don't know whether you'd agree with me or not. Let me know in the comments. As we know, this is how it looked beforehand. Very thin, you know, all over the place. I had the old famous Eastwood comb over here. But things definitely improved afterwards. As you can see, lots of density, improved hairline. It just looks better. Here's me with a Snapchat filler of Easter eggs, because I'm recording this right now and it's close to Easter. And I just think the results were pretty much pretty good. I was really, really happy with it. I was delighted with it actually. and it's definitely something I would recommend. If you're not happy with your hair and you're thinking of doing it, why not? You only live once, you might as well do it. Or maybe you don't live once, I don't know. Anyway, let's talk about the cost of this whole thing and what it's going to cost you. So I'm just going to turn around. You can use lots of different clinics. There is lots of different clinics. The clinic I chose to use is Vera Clinic in Istanbul, and they did not pay me for this video. So if you go to them, just tell them I sent you, and maybe they'll like give me a top up in 10 years for free. And I'm going to talk you through the costs of the operation now. So this is the way it went. So your operation package itself, which includes your hotel, which is the Hilton Hotel in my case, was €1,400, which is relatively cheap on the face of it for a hair transplant. Then you're going to look at your post-op meds. Now this is the hidden costs. These are optional. You don't have to get them. I would highly recommend you do get them. I definitely think they played a big part in my recovery and a big part in my results. So they cost €950. Flights, depending on where you're going from and to, is going to be a factor. But in my case, they were around £500. And then you can't realistically spend any money because you're not allowed to drink alcohol, coffee. All you can do is buy a bit of food, and you're going to be resting a lot of the time. So I just allowed €150 for food and expenses and stuff like that. So you're looking at about €3,000 for the entire thing, and plus you get a little holiday out of it as well, if you want to call it a holiday. That's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope it was helpful to you if you're thinking of having a hair transplant. Please leave a comment below. It really helps. So I'd love to know what your feedback is. If you want to connect with me across social media, here's all the links. And if you want to talk to me directly, if you're thinking of having one yourself and you need a bit of advice, I'd be absolutely happy to do that. Just send me a DM on Instagram or a tweet or something, and we'll chat there. So thanks very much for watching, and see you on the next video. Don't need this anymore.